I'm actually going to start with a poem. When I was in the 3rd grade, I thought that I was gay. Because I was. And my uncle was. And he killed himself pretty young, which I found aspirational at the time. Please keep it going for Macklemore. How's everyone doing tonight? I am so excited to be back here. The last time I did Space Queers, I had an active kidney stone. I also had a job, so a lot has changed. Let's start with the stone. So I put off dealing with it for a while. I really thought I could just kind of ride it out. Not exactly suffer in silence, because I could never. But at least not involve the medical profession in any kind of way. But it was really stuck in there. So after a few weeks, I went to urgent care, and they said, not urgent enough. So I went to a different urgent care, and they referred me to a urologist. And I have beef with urologists going way back that we don't even have time to get into, unfortunately. Okay, fine. From ages 4 to 19, anytime I laughed too hard, I would pee my entire pants. And it didn't occur to a single adult in my life that I wasn't doing it on purpose. So when I went off to college, I finally got to go see a urologist, figure out what's going on. He did all these tests, and he came back and he said, "Good news, there's nothing wrong with you." Which I took to mean it was my fault I was peeing my pants. But then it never happened again after that, so who knows, really? I'm glad that's funny to you. I had a lot of shame around it for a really long time. No one bullied me, though. Even the meanest kids were like, that's off limits. My body's always doing weird things to me. For example, if I eat too many onions, my colon just swells shut. So if I eat a little bit of onions, it's like I'm 19 again. So anyway, this urologist schedules a surgery to get the stone removed. And it's considered a non-invasive procedure, but I guess it depends on how you feel about the sanctity of your urethra. I found it just the right amount of invasive. It really hit me in my sweet spot. And I have to say, when I woke up from that surgery, I was the funniest I've ever been. I don't remember anything that I said, but I remember killing in that room. You know, I guess my ideal audience is middle-aged nurses who have just seen my penis. Cameron, if you want to make some real money off of me sometime, what happens then? Does anyone know? I didn't get paid the memorization fee for this. You know what? One thing I do remember doing when I woke up from surgery was my impression of Leslie Jordan if he was there when Jesus was killed. Crucify him! That's what he would have done. But anyway, it wasn't over because the surgeon left inside of me a stent, like a big plastic tube in the passageway from my kidney to my bladder, what's known as the urethra. And he left it in there for medically valid reasons. It wasn't like an oopsie or like trying to get a second date or anything. It was like, it was part of my healing. But it hurt worse than the stone, and it was really messing with my notoriously fragile psyche. So after 2 weeks, I got it taken out, and I felt so light and so cleansed. Like for a moment, I had an unobstructed urinary system, and anything was possible. Yeah, the next day at 9 a.m. I was fired from my job. And they knew what I was going through because I think I mentioned it. I do not suffer in silence. I refuse. And then what happened? It was all very shady, and legally speaking, I've already said too much, but comedically speaking, I'm almost done. I don't know why I was fired. The line was about my work quality, but I hadn't done any work in months, so that what is the truth? We'll probably never know for sure, because I did block everyone who's ever worked there on LinkedIn and email. Yeah. You might as well burn the bridge, is what I say. There will be more bridges. It's my philosophy. That was 4 months ago. I am still unemployed and burning through my retirement savings at an alarming rate. I know that sounds like bad financial management, but why would I save money for the year 2060? What is it? If we haven't abolished the US dollar by then, we failed. Okay, Macklemore has failed. Bet you didn't think you were gonna hear about him again tonight. And I am looking for a new job. Not that hard because I don't want to do one. But I do need one soon. But my life is better in every conceivable way without one. I have time to floss now. I'm nice to my husband. Not all the time, but more than before. And technically, I am just a little bit less complicit in genocide than all you taxpayers out there. A little bit less. Speaking of people who should be nicer to their husbands, I was on the phone with my mom the other day. And she recently did a suicide prevention fundraising walk. Yeah, she's really into suicide prevention all of a sudden. Where was that one anyway? Anyway, she raised the most money of anyone. She does every year. She has a foolproof strategy where she posts 1 million fucking Facebook posts that say, "Donate to suicide prevention in honor of my son, who's alive today despite his best efforts." If I'm allowed to capitalize off of it with my little joke, she can raise some money for a useless nonprofit. She raised more money than any of the teams, but she wasn't on a team, so she didn't get her name on the t-shirt. And she was pretty upset. But I told her, "Mom, you're still on the website under causes and risk factors." No, I love my mom now. The other thing she did on that phone call is she loves to ask me questions about my marriage along the lines of which one of you does all the cooking and which one of you does all the cleaning? What the fuck is that? It's like she needs there to be a binary but doesn't know about top and bottom. Which I hate top-bottom discourse, but as a gay guy comedian, I'm obligated to bring it up. I recently saw a tweet that was like, "I hate when guys say they're verse, but they're bad at topping." That is a kind of gatekeeping I will not get behind. Okay? If those are the rules, I'm asexual. Speaking of gates and the keeping thereof, I was reading all the tech billionaires had this conference where they talked about the bunkers that they're building to protect themselves from, I don't know, us. And the topic that kept coming up was how to keep the bunker soldiers from turning on them. These guys can't get their own kids to talk to them. Like, why not just do the work to taste good? Okay? But guess what? I applied for a job as a bunker soldier for RuPaul Charles. And I did. And in fact, I made it so far into that process that when RuPaul personally called me to tell me I wasn't getting the job. And I was like, why not? I'm deeply qualified. And he said, well, I saw your medical records. If you can't kill yourself, how in the hell are you gonna kill somebody else? Gonna get named in the